I literally I cannot understand how people can knowingly hurt others, knowingly do bad things, um, especially those who purport to do good things, but know that they're doing bad things, if that makes sense. So cults fascinate me uh, for so many reasons. I could go on and on about that, but Scientology is one of those cults that I am interested in. I just Leah Remini's stuff I find interesting to watch. I I think that it's very brave of her to have come forward and to have shared so much. Obviously, I think like anyone who knows about Scientology is interested in um, what the hell's going on with Tom Cruise, all of that sort of thing. But I, one of the things that's in the news right now that I don't think is getting enough attention is what the hell is going on with Danny Masterson. So Danny Masterson, he's not like a superstar, but he's pretty well known. If you guys watched that 70s show, he was the cool, like, curly haired kid, like, chill, whatever. But he's a Scientologist. By the way, a lot of people don't realize this, but, Elizabeth Moss is a Scientologist, which I find so crazy. Elizabeth Moss is a Scientologist. She's in The Handmaid's Tale. Like, why doesn't she see it? Why doesn't she see it? Why? Anyway, that's just a side note. But my whole point here is Danny Masterson is in Scientology, as are a lot of people that you probably might not expect. And right now, he is in a rape trial because he's a bad person. And through this rape trial, actually, a lot of Scientology secrets are coming out into the open. So, this article is out of the LA Times and it's titled Scientology Secrets Spill into Open in Danny Masterson Rape Case. And this article came out today. For some background, if you guys aren't aware, just so you know, like if you guys haven't watched any of Leah Remini's stuff, whatever, the Scientologist, if you are in it, you're in it. And people enter it thinking it's going to help change their lives. You're not allowed to take psychiatric medications. They don't believe in psychiatrists, whatever. You end up paying a ton of money to like advance. They believe in like wacky shit, like there's there's like freaking alien stuff at the end. It was created by L. Ron Hubbard, who is a science fiction writer. I don't know how people could ever believe this, but they do. And you pay to get to the end, which no one ever really does. But in any case, they pay to get to it. There's a there's a celebrity center, and it's a lot. It's a whole lot. But if you defect, then you can get cut off from your family. Like you're considered a suppressive person. So there's a lot of reporting or speculation about, for example, what happened when Katie Holmes left Tom Cruise and like what happened to Surrey Cruise and all of that sort of thing. And so like when Leah Remini left, her family went with her, thankfully. Um, but there's a lot going on there, which happens with a lot of cults. Like one of the signs of it something being a cult is that if you leave it or whatever, or if you enter it, then you are supposed to not be with your family, or like they want to cut you off from your family, like they want you to focus only on the cult. So there's a lot of abuse that takes place with Scientology, and anyone that speaks out against Scientology or anyone that like leaves it and speaks out against it is often harassed and abused. There's a lot of stuff that happens. Scientology has one of the best public relations things going on. They have a huge social media presence. They are also, due to Hollywood, due to money, they're able to do a lot of things that other cults aren't able to do. So they're very well connected. They're very they have a lot of power. So anyway, back to Danny Masterson. The Church of Scientology works hard to keep its inner workings out of the public eye. It has hired private detectives to keep tabs on straying members, and experts say its lawyers vigorously defend against legal incursions, arguing to judges that Scientology's beliefs are not courtroom fodder. By the way, they are legally registered as a church, so they don't pay taxes. But at a hearing last week in the rape case against actor Danny Masterson, church officials were unable to stop their practices from being debated in open court. 3 women took the stand to recount violent sexual assaults allegedly committed by the celebrity Scientologist, and each told similar stories of how church officials tried to stop them from reporting Masterson to police. One woman testified that a church official instructed her to write a statement showing she would take responsibility for a 2001 assault in which she alleges Masterson raped her while she was unconscious. Another woman who was born into Scientology and planned to report Masterson to police in 2004, a year after she said he raped her at his Hollywood mansion, recounted how a Scientology attorney showed up at her family's home. The lawyer, according to the woman, warned that she would be expelled from the church if she went to authorities. "We're going to work out how you cannot lose your daughter," the attorney told the woman's father, according to her testimony. The focus on Scientology during the preliminary hearing, which stretched over 4 days and included lengthy discussions of internal church texts and doctrine, wasn't lost on Los Angeles County Superior Court Judge Charlene Olmedo. In ruling that there was sufficient evidence against Masterson to allow the case to proceed toward trial, Olmedo concluded Scientology has an expressly written doctrine that not only discourages but prohibits its members from reporting one another to law enforcement. So that's something that is important to understand, is that Scientology essentially has written its own laws and rules, and that members are expected to abide by that. So if there are abuses, and there are many, many abuses, there's the Sea Org, which abuses many, many, many children, forcing them to work in severe labor abuses, etc. That's not supposed to be reported according to these insane rules. They're essentially allowed to operate with in their own world, and because they're registered as a church, because they don't have to pay, the taxes that they would have to pay if they weren't registered as a church. Because of the power that they hold, they get away with so much, and so many people are fearful of them because they operate as a mob also. It's horrific to think about what goes unreported and what happens behind closed doors. It was a type of public dissection that is unusual for the insular, enigmatic institution. The church, which counts a number of high-profile actors among its parishioners and operates a celebrity center in the heart of Hollywood, has long been accused of going to extraordinary lengths to keep criminal allegations and other claims of wrongdoing in-house, experts said. The activities of Scientology have been so much a part of the evidence that's being put forth as to why these women were not immediately going to law enforcement that it's sort of brought the dirty laundry out into public view, which is exactly what Scientology does not want to have happen. said Mike Rinder, the church's former top spokesman, who left the faith. Which, why is the lot like this is what's wrong with corporate media? Why is the LA Times writing who left the faith in 2007? No. Who left the cult in 2007? Why are they writing the faith? That's absurd. That's so, why? Why are you writing that in LA Times? That's ridiculous. Mike Rinder's great, though. Mike Rinder, look him up. He works with Leah Remini often to reveal what's happening with Scientology. In statements to the Times, the church denied it has a policy that dissuades members from reporting crimes, despite repeated references to Scientology texts during the hearing that appeared to include the directive. Karen Powell, the church's top spokeswoman, said Olmeda's comments were flat out wrong and dismissed the allegations against Masterson as nothing more than a money shakedown by women who are also engaged in a civil suit against him. So basically anything you see by Karen is just a lie. The women, Powell claimed without evidence, are parroting comments made by Leah Remini, an actress who became an outspoken critic of Scientology after breaking with it in 2015. Rinder is a co-executive producer with Remini of a Netflix series about Scientology. The case against Masterson, who starred in the 2000 sitcom That 70s Show, is a relatively rare example of a Scientologist facing criminal charges. One woman testified that she wrote a letter to an international justice chief whom she described as the church's ultimate authority on disputes between Scientologists, seeking permission to sue Masterson. Permission, which you have to seek, to sue Masterson and report him to the police. References were made in court to knowledge reports, things that shouldn't be reports, and OW write-ups. A prosecutor repeatedly evoked books and letters written by L. Ron Hubbard, the former science fiction author who founded the church, as official Scientology doctrine. When a woman explained during her testimony that wagla is the church's disdainful term for police and courts, Almeida asked if Scientologists refer to non-members as wogs, much like wizards in the fictional universe of Harry Potter call non-magical people muggles. I suppose, the woman responded, it's not a nice thing. Almeida slapped down the request, saying she found it interesting that Mesereau argued Scientology should have little to do with the case, but also referred to the church 88 times in a 29-page brief. It's classified as a church, which lets it get away with all kinds of stuff. It has its own laws, it brainwashes people, and no one is held accountable. I mean, there's so much here. It's protected by politicians. It's protected because it's Hollywood. It's protected by all of its money. I don't remember if I said church already, but I'll say it again because church protects, the fact that it's designated as a church gives it so much protection.